The QKZ VK4 and the TRN MT1 are two very different IEMs. If you are just starting your IEM journey and figuring out your preferred tuning, these two IEMs might help you to figure out what you like and prevent you from wasting money on more expensive IEMs that you might not like. So let's start with timbre. Timbre is naturally an aspect that most reviewers don't shed much light on. Timbre is a measure of how natural an IEM sounds. The QKZ VK4 sounds a lot more natural than the TRN MT1, hands down. But don't stop this video here, because I'm not saying the VK4 is the better IEM overall. Later on in the video, when I explain bass, mids, and highs, you will get why the MT1 might still be a good choice, even if it sounds unnatural to the VK4. Timbre is very important in identifying how good an IEM can sound regardless of the bass, mids, or highs. When it comes to drivability, both of these IEMs do not scale much with an amp. They will run fine off your phone. I have tried these off an iPhone 6s. My desktop DAC and amp, there's very minimal difference. Besides, I wouldn't worry about that when it comes to budget IEMs. For the bass, let's start with the bass. The VK4 right here is the clear winner when it comes to bass. If you are a bass head, the VK4 is one of the very few IEMs that perform well in the bass region below $10. There is more sub-bass rumble in the VK4. There's more mid-bass punch in the VK4. Bass speed and accuracy is better on the VK4. Everything bass is better on the VK4 than on the MT1. I still could say though that the MT1 has pretty accurate bass, but it doesn't have any of that sub-bass rumble that the VK4 just provides. A very full, very satisfying bass. And if you like bass, and it is the most important thing for you when it comes to audio, go for the VK4. The MT1 does not even come close. To the mids, this is where the contest starts between the MT1 and the VK4. For my personal preference, the MT1 wins in the mids. The vocal presence and clarity is a lot better on the MT1 than in the VK4. The VK4 has very recessed mids, and it is noticeable. So if you like forward vocals and you listen to a lot of vocal-centric genres, the MT1 is a clear choice. The only problem here is the timbre. The MT1 starts to sound unnatural because of the forward upper mids. The excessive clarity might sound unnatural to most people, including me. But I personally spent more time listening to it, and eventually I got used to it. So for the mids, the MT1 definitely wins. For the highs, again, the MT1 is the clear winner for me. This is actually the strong point of the MT1 and the biggest weakness of the VK4. The highs are presented with amazing clarity for the price, but this also results to some issues. The clarity can be excessive at times, which again may lead to artificial sounding highs for most people, and this still has slight sibilance. But personally, I did not find the MT1 to be sibilant, and I am very sensitive to sibilance. But I will understand that it may be slightly sibilant for some people. The VK4's highs are rolled off. You will notice this immediately, but hey, if you're not a fan of highs anyway and you just value that powerful bass in your music, then it will not be a problem for you, and the VK4 will still provide you with a very relaxed sound. When it comes to gaming performance, the VK4 right here is the clear winner. The VK4 is very directionally accurate for the price, and the MT1 does not even come close. I mean, sure, you can still game with the MT1, but it won't be as accurate as the VK4. The only problem with the VK4 is separation. If there's a lot of stuff going on in the game, it may be difficult to pick out the details. But even with this problem, the VK4 still wins in terms of gaming performance. You might find the bass overpowering though for competitive, and I suggest you EQ the bass down if it is possible in your setup. But even with that problem, I'd still go with the VK4 when it comes to gaming performance. For soundstage, no winner. The MT1 has a slightly bigger soundstage, but I wouldn't really say it's notable. If you're looking for soundstage, you'll need to go higher in price. I have not tested or heard about any IEMs that have a big soundstage that cost less than $10. And when it comes to more expensive IEMs, from my experience, those are the ones that perform well when it comes to soundstage. So for this price, I wouldn't really go looking for a big soundstage. Don't put it in your priorities at least. Now, why you should buy both. If you are just starting in your audio journey, these two IEMs are tuned very differently and may help you find your preference when it comes to IEM tuning. The VK4 is a very bass heavy IEM with a very safe tuning that generally most people are very familiar with. The MT1 is the complete opposite, with tuning that emphasizes both vocals and clarity in the highs that most people might find too aggressive, but it is still a good idea to be open to this kind of tuning, as over time your preferences as an audiophile might change. But disclaimer, if you do buy the MT1, don't put it off your first time listening to it. I remember hating the MT1 during my first listen, but then I used it for a week. It took a while for my brain to adjust to a tuning I was not used to, and eventually I liked it. And this is coming from a bass head. So that's it for this video. It was a quick video. I just wanted to compare two contrasting IEMs and why you should buy them together. So I hope you liked this video. I hope you gained value from it. If you liked it, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.